What's going on, everybody? Buckeye Roast, 8 a.m. We in here on time. No Buckeye brunch today, so you have to wait till later for that. What's going on? What's good, Ron? How you doing?
I mean, we do in fact have a Buckeye brunch today, but we will get to that later. I'm doing well. Your boy's actually awake this morning, so we in here.
Yeah, man, not too bad. Let me give my shout out for the first chat. Matthew was in here as well. It's at 7:36. I might have woke up around 7:30. Nah, I'm just messing. But yeah, so shout out to him for the first chat. Good morning, and good morning, Drew. I see you in there. So good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Yeah, man. Got a lot to get into, but let me go ahead and intro us. So today is Wednesday, so we have the Fans Edge at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Mike, Cam, and this crew from Fans Edge over there. They'll be hanging out. It should be a good time. Make sure you tune in for that. But let's say you're like, man, I want to see you guys more. You know what I'm saying? 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. That's a long time to wait after 9 a.m. Well, don't even worry about it. Ron and I will be on Bleacher Report today at 1 p.m. So make sure you go download that app. They have their video that they'll post at the top. So hit the fire on there. We will shoot out the link later, but and this right there, 4 ways to fix Ohio State is what we will be covering. So we'll be talking about that, going after some points. But yeah, all you gotta do is hop into the team stream, click Ohio or search Ohio State, click up there, it'll be right at the top. So not hard to find. We'll be in there. Ron's been bringing the heat, so they let him bring a guest along, and we're gonna hang out in there. We definitely want to see everybody there. Let's run up the chat. Let's hit those likes and all that. Definitely excited. And super excited to get that Bleacher Report check when it comes in the mail, so I can tell Ross so I can put it in my man cave.
Yeah, it's a big day. We're both going up to the big leagues. The Buckeye Roast is going Hollywood. So we will be in the Ohio State team stream today and the Bleacher Report app. So make sure that you have the Bleacher Report app downloaded and tap in with us this afternoon at 1 p.m.
Yeah, most definitely. And then, as you know, on the weekend, we have the morning show, 10 a.m. to 11:30, get you right before the game. And then, well, Ronald let me know if he'll be on Bleach Report after. I don't know. Do you know yet? Don't know yet? Maybe.
I do not know yet. As of
Okay.
right now, I am not doing a post game reaction. So, yeah, we have the college football pregame show on Saturday morning from 10 to 11:30. We have some special guests lined up for that, so make sure you tap in for that. And then we have Buckeye BS on Sunday on the schedule right now. So as of right now, we do not have an instant reaction scheduled, but who knows?
Yeah. So even if there is not an instant reaction schedule, I want y'all to go in the Bleacher Report app, find the first article, and ask, "Where's Ron?" That's what I need. Where's Ron? I need my post game instant reaction, most definitely. But yeah, man. So today we're gonna talk press conference. Obviously, Ryan Day talked yesterday, so I have the notes from that. Jim Knowles talked as well. So a lot going on there. Ron, am I missing anything? Are you ready to hop into it?
No, let's get to it.
Yeah, yeah. And Chad, if y'all have any questions, just let us know. And we'll get to those in the end. So let's get started with these. So Ryan Day was asked. We're gonna start with the offensive line here. Ryan Day said the offensive line needed to play better in the run game. They were about 50% efficient on first and second down runs. Didn't handle the Indiana defense well, but it's correctable. Ron, you watched yesterday again. What did you think of the offensive line play?
There were some good things. There were some bad things. I was sitting watching the All 22 last night as I'm like falling asleep in bed before we had to do our pre-production for Bleacher Report, and I was fighting through it. But on the third watch through, it seemed like there was a lot of correctable things. As Dog pointed out on our film breakdown on Sunday in the Discord, a lot of this was due to misalignments. And I think that's to be expected with a first time starter at center in Carson Hinsman. I know one of the things that they really valued in Luke Weipler was his ability to set the alignment and really identify the protection and get it set across the entire line. And they really valued him as a football mind at that center position that paired well with CJ, who's also, a football mind. So having those two guys that really know ball, a quarterback and a center that are aligned together. I think people underestimate that value. So I just feel like once they get the chemistry, once Carson Hinsman gets more of those game reps, I feel like those are very correctable things. I didn't see watching it any like during any of the rewatches. I didn't see our offensive line physically getting manhandled at any point. One bad rep by Carson Hinsman, but I mean, you know what I mean? Someone puts a hand on you while you're off balance, shit can happen. But overall, I think it was just misalignments, and I feel like that's something that Justin Fry can correct. Having these guys really identify what the protection needs to be and getting their hats on the correct hats. A lot of the times during the film breakdowns that we were watching, the All 22 film, you can see that they have enough blockers for the amount of defenders. They're just misaligned, and then you'll have two guys on one and someone just completely running free. So I feel like if they're able to fix some of these alignment issues, I think the offensive line should be fine.
Yeah, and I'm sure you point out a lot of things, a lot of miscommunication. I'm sure Travion Henderson will be happy as well. Guys don't have a tire iron waiting for him to get the ball in the backfield. So yeah, no, that's definitely good to hear. So moving on to Josh Fryer, he actually graded out as a champion at right tackle. Josh Simmons, right? Josh Simmons needs to be more consistent. What do you think of the tackle play? Is that right on mark for Ryan Day from what you saw?
Josh Fryer had a ton of really good plays and flashed athleticism in some places. And then there's a couple ones where he left a little bit to be desired. I was watching one breakdown and I was like, it looks like he pooped his pants trying to get out there to the second level. So, overall, I mean, like he graded out as a champion. I think he definitely showed that he was more athletic than people thought. A little bit to be desired there, but overall, I mean, how could you criticize a champion? He played really well, especially in the first game. So I it gave me confidence. Like all of the things that I saw from the offensive line seem correctable. There was I think there was one time that we were running stretch and Josh Simmons thought the play was going the other way and completely runs out of frame. And like I just feel like those are things that you're gonna see with all of these new faces on the offensive line. And then another name that I kept hearing and seeing during the film breakdown that was having issues was Matt Jones. We've seen Matt Jones play mistake free, good football for years now. I mean, he was the sixth man on the offensive line 2 years back. He was a starter last year. I mean, this is his second year starting. I think all of those things are things that he'll be able to clean up. You know what I mean? Because we've seen
Yeah.
him do it before. So when you see a guy like that you know has it in him to go out there and play well, I mean, I don't remember at all last year complaining about Matt Jones or his struggles. So I think that's someone who will be able to clean up their mistakes. And yeah, overall, even watching the struggles that they did have, it gave me confidence coming away because it seems like all of these things are correctable.
Yeah, you just made me laugh when you said Simmons just went off screen. I'm like, you're watching all 22. Where did he go?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, man. He got on the bus and was out of there.
He had to leave the stadium almost to go miss the bear. That's
That's what
too
I'm saying.
that's too funny. Yeah, you touched on Matt Jones. Didn't have him in my notes, but yeah. No, it sounds like he's a guy you have confidence in. He's been around the block a few times. I mean, you've heard he just needs to be consistent as well. Like I said, at times Matt Jones comes out like a first round pick. At times, he's working for UPS next year. So, yeah, get more consistent there. We should be good to go on the O line. He also touched on Carson Hinsman. He said he was okay, but he has a ways to go. He talked about the communication on the offensive line. Carson Hinsman, where are you at with him?
I just think he's so young. I feel like Justin Fry is going to be able to get him right. I feel like the more game reps he has, I think Ryan Day did say in the press conference that Indiana did some things that they didn't expect, but overall he should have been ready for that. So I think just with more game reps, more experience, more time in the film room, these are all identifiable things. It just seemed like he was just misidentifying the alignment, and I would much rather it be something mental with them than seeing that like we just don't have the athleticism to compete or push guys around. So like if guys were getting thrown back into their, back onto their ass and you know what I mean, just getting mauled, like all of the plays that we saw disrupted in the backfield weren't from someone just getting whooped. It was literally people running free. And that's something that we're going to talk about a ton. We have a bunch of clips that we're going to go over during the Bleacher Report stream later this afternoon. So make sure you tap in with that, and we'll have some clips to look at there as far as what we saw with the misalignments and guys running free. So, like Ryan Day said, Hinsman has a long way to go, but I mean, it's a long season, so I think he has plenty of time to get there.
Yeah, 100%. And we're about at the 11-minute mark. 30 people in here. Like Ron said in the chat, go ahead, like that video. Let's try to get to 30. Everybody take a second, click that real quick. Also, man, we're chasing that 5K sub mark. We're not far off. So if everybody tells somebody that we in here every day, 8 a.m., in here evening sometimes, and then here Sunday morning for that game reaction and pregame, get them in here, subscribe. We hit that 5K. So definitely appreciate y'all. Everybody smash that like button like Frank did, and let's keep it rolling. So real quick note, Ryan Day talked about Indiana having the DC that was coaching at Ohio State last season. He said it didn't really matter much. Ohio State just got off schedule, and the Indiana defense took advantage of that. Is that is that what you seen, Ron? You saw them just getting off schedule, or was Indiana really scheming us up?
Say that one more time.
So he talked about the Indiana DC coaching Ohio State last year. He said it didn't matter much. He said we just got off schedule, and then Indiana took advantage from there. Is that what you seen on the All 22, or did you see Indiana really scheming us up?
So, no, I mean that's something that you saw, and Ryan Day talked about that the need to run the ball effectively more in the 4 to 5 yards per carry than the 3. I think Trey was at 3.4. I think mine was at 3.6, and he talked about the difficulties and what the limitations that caused with them being off schedule as far as what they're calling on third down. So I do think that if they're able to clean up some of these miscues on early downs in the run game where guys are getting smacked in the backfield or going down by the first tackler because someone has a hand on them by the time they hit the line of scrimmage, I think they'll be able to open up the playbook and you'll see them be a lot more efficient. But they have to clean up these early down run plays. Like they have to be more efficient. And I mean, he says he needs to see between 5 to 6 yards per carry out of the running backs. Well, there was someone on the team that ran for 7.6 yards per carry. I don't know. It may be a crazy theory. I know, we play who deserves to play. So I don't know if that's the best player or not, but there is a guy on the roster that carried for 7.6 yards per carry. Maybe we should just give him the ball more. I don't know. Crazy thought. Just an idea. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give Indiana credit. I thought their linebackers played extremely well. I thought they handled our offensive line pretty well, even though part of mistakes, but that's part of the game. So I don't think we got schemed up, but I think they certainly put out a solid performance with the talent they have. But like you said, we're more talented. If we execute, we can't be stopped. So execution, it needs to be there, and that will all work out. But I will give their DC some credit. He came in. He didn't get schemed up. Didn't get blown out the water, which we usually expect to happen. So, man, it's just that Ohio State coaching tree out there. You were too impressed. I was going to somehow turn it into a positive for Ohio State. Yeah. So this is an interesting mark, right? So we talked about the new clock rules, Ron. You talked about that and how we don't want less football. So in the game, they had 10 possessions. When they played Indiana last year, I believe that's the game he was referring to, they had 15 possessions total. So 5 less possessions total in the game. Ryan Day said the game seemed like they moved a little slower. And due to the lack of possessions, they need to be a lot more efficient. First of all, are you shocked by the drop of 5 possessions in a game?
Yeah, I mean, in my post game reaction, one of my first things that I said was the losers were college football fans. 5 less possessions of football. I mean, I just don't understand who that benefits whatsoever. Less football. I mean, I think they said they expected to run 70 something plays, but think we ran 60, almost 10 less plays, 5 less
Yeah,
possessions. It just doesn't. I just don't see how this lasts. I mean, college football fans need to make sure that they um, keep up the noise around this and let them know that they don't like this. I mean, who wants to see less possessions? I mean, I think they're like, oh, it slows the game down and makes it more efficient. I'm like, yeah, there's games where there's 4 possessions by halftime. Like,
yeah.
what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I don't like it either, and I think it just cuts down for the level of excitement. I mean, you talk about that Colorado TCU game, which is probably the best game over the weekend, and for them to even have the shootout they had, if you really think about it, you're like, not very much defense was played at all for them to be able to reach what 45 and 38 or something around, or it's like 42 and 45. So it's like if you get any stops, these games are gonna look pretty dry and low scoring. So I'm with you. I'm not a fan of these new clock rules. I think it's just cutting at 5 possessions, man. I mean, also too. I mean, I'll touch more on it later, but 5 less possessions. When you talk about you want to see young guys, things like that. It definitely makes it. I have a little more like okay. I want to see more rotation, but where's the time? Like you only have 10, you're only playing defense for 10 possessions. How are you gonna get young guys in if like, by the time it hits 8, you're not even still ready to confirm like, okay, we got this game won. So is what it is, but not happy with the new clock rules. Also he touched on being more efficient. Yeah, you have to be super efficient if you're only gonna have 10 possessions. So definitely agree with him there. And moving on. So, talked about Marv. He said Indiana took Marv away, which is going to happen. They need to find more creative ways to get him the ball, but also other guys need to step up if teams are, I guess, scheming him out of the game. What is your thoughts on that?
One more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. He said, talking about Marv, Indiana took Marv away, which is going to happen. He said they need to find creative ways to get him the ball, but also other guys need to step up so they're not able to take Marv out and just go from there.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think he takes accountability there in the fact that Indiana should not be able to scheme Marv out of the game, even when they try. You're supposed to be one of the most creative play callers in the country, so you do need to do a better job of getting him the ball. But at the same time, like he said, Emeka Ibuka is supposed to be the second best wide receiver in the country, so you should be able to get open and uh, create the need to come off of Marv. So if Julian and Mecca aren't able to do those things, it's going to be a long season for Kyle if he expected to just chuck it up to Marv all year.
Yeah, sorry. The chat had me laughing because I said Horton scored 81, and then Mitch was like, "Didn't they play a directional school?" Y'all are
Yeah,
funny.
and then everybody who looked great against directional schools this week, when they play real teams this week and look average, and Ohio State beats up on Youngstown State, it's going to be goalposts are going to be on wheels. They're going to be moving all around.
It's too funny. Talking about Kyle McCord, he said Kyle had some good moments, some moments he wish he had back. He liked to give Devin more snaps, but the team was good enough to win. But the team was good enough to win, but that's not that's not good enough moving forward.
Yeah, I
Thought,
mean, it wasn't. Anybody who watched the game knew that that wasn't a championship level game. A lot of people wanted to talk about, oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't. You know what I mean? On second rewatch, Kyle had some good throws. He had some bad throws. He struggled at times. He looked all right at times. But like Ryan Day said, the standard's the standard. They're trying to win a national championship. And that performance that we saw on Saturday wouldn't have got it done. Can he get better? Absolutely. But I'm glad that we're able to acknowledge like, hey, yeah, it wasn't perfect. Yeah, CJ's a high standard, all of these things, but we do have to play better. I mean, 0 touchdown passes isn't going to win a national championship.
no, 200%. I agree. Thinking about it, he just missed some throws, man, which is gonna happen. I have faith Kyle will get better, so we will see going into the season. Ryan Davis asked about the identity of his offense. He said yes, he does have an idea of what identity they want to be, but execution has to be there. So that may change what he's run, his level of aggressiveness, things like that. Did want to mark that, but I want to get you to my next point. Um, Short yardage situations on 3rd and 4th down, or short yardage situation on 4th down. We went for 2 of them, I believe, 2 or 3, is really based on 3rd down. He wants to be able to run downhill and just get the yards, but wasn't able to in the game, which made him have to pass. What do you think about that as far as 4th down? Because he says, if he runs it on 3rd down, basically, it doesn't get any yardage. He's not just gonna turn around and run it on 4th down. He's gonna have to pass. Or if he runs it on 3rd down and gets like a yard, he may run it again because they just proved they can get a yard and they only need another one. What do you think about that decision making on 3rd and 4th if we're going to go for it?
It'd be really cool just being able to push someone out of the way and get the first down on 3rd down. Like, I just don't understand this. Ryan Day has been talking since 2021 about wanting to be able to run the ball when the other team knows that they're going to run the ball. And we just haven't been able to do that. I mean, it's usually blatantly obvious when Ohio State's going to run in short yardage situations, and they're not that great at it. Like, they're stopped regularly on 3rd and short, 4th and short, you know what I mean? 3rd and 4th and goal in these short yardage situations when they get out there and, you know what I mean? They bring all these big bodies. They're in 12 personnel. They're bringing all these tight ends in. They have freshman tackles checking in as eligible tight ends. All these things that they're trying to do to run the ball in short yardage situation, they still struggle with it. So, I mean, I'm not as concerned or worried about his mentality going into going on 4th down if you don't get it on 3rd. How about we just start getting it on 3rd?
Yeah, because he said he wants the team to run downhill and not have to rely on the pass. So you read his mind. That's exactly what he wants to do, but you got to actually be able to go out there and execute it. All right, we're about 20-minute work. 56 people in here. Let's like the video. Let's try to get to 40, man. Get this video 40 likes. Let's get it jumping. Let's get it going. Appreciate y'all joining us in here, chat. Y'all are making me laugh. So appreciate y'all. Y'all killing me. Try to get through these notes. Let's talk about his plan at quarterback. So he says, and somebody asked in the chat, the plan is the same as last week. Kyle will start, but he's going to try to play Devin Moore. No, this does not mean he is a starter. There's no hard line. He's just seeing how things play out. Ron, what is your reaction to that?
I'm sorry. I'm just in a fucking complete blender right now. Can you run that back one more time?
Okay, so you're good. All right, so basically what he's saying is the plan's the same as last week. Kyle's going to start. He definitely wants to play Devin Moore. This does not mean Kyle's the starter. There's no hard line here. He wants to see what both guys can do, but he's going to run it out there like this week again against a less opponent and try to really get both guys playing time.
I mean, can you believe anything that he says at this point? I mean, he told you the same exact thing last week. I mean, I'm in wait and see mode. If they actually get out there, that would be great. But I just don't want to see people crying on the timeline about people asking to see the backup quarterback when they said the backup quarterback's going to play. If you're going to play him, and then don't be mad at the media storm or how the fans react when you don't. I mean, do you want us to follow your words or your actions? Your actions tell us you're not going to play him. Your words tell us that you are. So I mean, I don't know what to believe here. I would imagine with Youngstown State, he's going to do a much better job of being able to get him in the game. And if you know what I mean, if the game is so close that you're not able to if the game is so close that you're not able to get the separation that you need to get both quarterbacks on the field, I mean, the season's over anyways. So
that's a big problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, again, I'm not mad at this quarterback situation. I understand everybody wants to see Devin. Um I would have rather him roll with a start if it was Kyle. Just give Kyle the full chance to see what he can do. I mean, this is definitely a game where if he ain't coming out looking like all American, it's like, well, we might have made the wrong decision. Got to go with the other guy and see what he can do. So let's see how this plays out on Saturday. I do believe both guys are going to play because the game shouldn't really be close. And let's go from there. But again, like everybody else, I would love to see Devin.
Our guy Mitch had a question here, and I wanted to jump into this real quick before we keep moving with the questions. Speaking of reaction, do you think Kirk Herbstreit gritting too much with the latest video about fans being critical of players? Number one, he talked about an unrealistic psychotic standard. Let's talk about the realistic standard. Ryan Day says there's 3 goals every year: beat the team up north, win the Big Ten championship, win the national championship. I'm not good with math, Q. What's the record in the last 2 seasons on those goals that Ryan Day himself came out here and told us were his goals and his standard? Like, you know what I mean? When you do a review at work, you set goals and then they review you based on the goals that you set. Did you accomplish what you said you were going to do? So I'm sick of them crying wolf about, oh my God, everybody's so mean. The standard is so unrealistic. Q, what is the record for the standard that they set themselves?
I mean, I'm not a math major, but I can count to 6, and he didn't
Oh,
count
it's
to
6.
0.
Wow, that's crazy. An unrealistic standard. You told me you were going to do these 6 things. You've done none of them. But everybody's so mean and the standard is so unrealistic. Stop telling me things and then changing your fucking mind and being mad when people respond to what you tell us. Oh, you tell us you're going to play 2 quarterbacks and then you don't? Why is everybody so mad? You told me you were going to play 2. Oh, you told me you're going to win a national championship and a Big Ten championship and beat the team up north. Oh, you've done none of those things in the last 2 years. Why is everybody so mad? Because you told me you were going to do those things. So, what is the standard? You guys are telling people, they come out here and tell us things and then get mad when we expect them to deliver
That's
on the
so
things that they
true.
tell. No one told you to come out here and say that both quarterbacks were going to play. You didn't have to do that. He volunteered that information. No one I don't sit there and I don't talk to the players. I didn't set the standard of we're going to beat the team up north. We're going to win the Big Ten championship. We're going to win a natty. I'm not in the Woody every day preaching those things. I hear the players parrot it in every interview. But now somehow this is an unrealistic standard. It's bullshit to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they basically give us 90% of the information. All the only thing I could tell you about the team is how talented they are because I can go out and look at the talent they bring in and say, okay, with this level of talent and this blue chip ratio, this team should be able to perform. Everything outside of just the raw talent they have on the team, the coaches pretty much tell us. Like you tell us CJ Hicks is balling all off season, but we don't see him. You tell us you have 2 NFL quarterbacks. You play 1 when you told you're going to play 2, and neither of them look NFL-ish. All those things. They don't give us information. The information do give us halftime. It's cap. So, and I'm not mad at Ryan Day for not telling the truth in the media. He's the coach. He has to hide certain things. He can't just come out and give everything away. But also, too, you were the one tempering the expectations. You're telling us one thing, you're doing another. So people are going to react to that. I mean, people react to the news lying to them about politics or weather. People mad at the weatherman when he's
And then
wrong.
and then all the change your mind. Oh, he changed your mind, people out there. I want you guys to go home and tell your significant other that you've told that you'll never cheat on. Go cheat on them and tell them you changed your mind and see how that goes over. Like, since when? Oh, it's not lying. I changed my mind. Like, oh, I'll never cheat on you. And then you go cheat. And it's like, oh, it's not lying. I changed my mind. Like, what type of standard is that? Like, oh, he didn't lie. He changed his mind. How many times are you allowed to just change your mind and then not deal with people responding to, oh, that's not what you told me? Like, it's just it's crazy to me, the willingness for people to dive on the sword and defend everything and then gaslight you and point at you like you're crazy, like, oh, they can't win the Big Ten championship every year. You told me that's the fucking goal.
If you said this season would be a struggle, I wouldn't expect to win the Big Ten this year.
That's what I'm saying. If you came out here and said, "Wow, man, our center can't identify a single protection. I don't know if we're going to be able to throw too many passing touchdowns. We struggle to run on early downs, and you know what I mean. We got question marks on the defense. It's going to be a long season." I wouldn't. I would go, okay, well, they told us. You know what I mean? It's about to be a long year. Every year, oh, we bounce back. We're going to beat them. We've toughened up. This is the toughest offseason you've ever seen from Coach Mick. All right, well, then go do it then.
Yeah, pretty much proofs in the pudding. I don't really know what Kirk was on, coming after the fans for having an opinion, talking about guys don't want to come here because of the fans when we're the ones backing. Like, hey, I want young talented guys to come in here and have the opportunity to play. So what are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is that not having people want to come here just because we're critical of the coach. I mean, being critical of players to a certain point on the timeline, like I will agree with you with, like it doesn't need to get personal, it doesn't need to get offensive, don't need name calling. But if guys aren't playing well, they're out here making money, they're in the public light. You're gonna get that. Everybody's not gonna go by the way of, oh, let's be nice and see what happens. I mean, criticism is criticism. It comes in all well shapes and forms. You're at Ohio State, you're in the public spotlight. Comes with the job, man. Not that I agree with all the times, but it is what it is. But we're gonna be critical of Ryan Day. He's paid for that. And we just want to see, them perform like they say they are. So as I always say, I don't know why he's on our heads about that. Some people are crazy. I'll agree with him, but for the most part, criticism is part of the game. We get criticized at work, and we have 5 people who know what we do, and probably on our team. So, you know, it is what it is. It's just part of life.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep moving on. Kirk Herbstreit, man, Kirk Herbstreit. So, I think this is really good points here on Ryan Day talked about. So, we talked about Ryan Day being aggressive, right? Everybody left Saturday and said we didn't get the UGA Ryan Day. So we talked about this. He said you need to find a balance between conservative and aggressive, based on quarterback and offensive line. You need more trust. We don't have. He didn't say this, but basically what he's saying is we don't have CJ anymore. He doesn't trust Kyle or Devin to just go out there and sling it like he would give CJ the line like he did last season. Taking shots with the quarterback goes with execution. Ron, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to execute if you want to be able to take these shot plays. And like we talked about earlier, when you're off schedule, it's harder to set up the plays that you want. So I mean, I feel like it's about executing on early downs to be able to set up these shot plays that they're looking for.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, 200%. With CJ, we were spoiled, especially last year. His accuracy, man. He would just take CJ would throw balls like he had no business throwing. He could complete them. It was just like, wow, man. So we're definitely spoiled with that. But I agree with him. You bring a young quarterback in, you can't go UGA mode because he might throw, 3 interceptions. You got to kind of play him a little bit, and we got to execute better in the running game. So those two things feed off of each other. Hopefully, get it corrected this week and next week, and move on into the Notre Dame. I was about to say the UGA game. The Notre Dame game. Don't want to play UGA this early. So the Notre Dame game. Let's get these things right and go execute. Okay. So asked about your guy and Cam's guy and everybody's guy after last week, Chip Trayanum. He says he likes Chip's versatility. He can block, he can catch, he can run. He will see where it goes based on his performance in the next few weeks.
I think we should stop playing our best running back at fullback.
Well, he alluded to he likes that versatility and things like that. So, and also running with the hot hand. Obviously, if Chip is hot, he's going to give him the ball and things like that. But he just kind of leaves it open to like this guy can fit so many roles that where he fits best at on a particular play, he's just going to base it off how the offense is rolling and what they need. But he's kind of that guy who can do it all.
I mean, I guess I mean, if he's gonna ride the hot hand, that's ideally what I want from him. The running back room is too talented to like play this depth chart game of this game I'm gonna get this person X amount of carries. This game, like let them go in with a rotation and then ride the hot hand. I really don't see the need to declare someone the guy and make sure that he's seeing X amount of carries each game. So I do like to hear that he's open to riding the hot hand. And ideally, I would hope that's what we see most of the year. Because, I mean, if Trey's out there going crazy, let Trey break a record. You know what I mean? You said 3K yeah. Trey. I don't know. I don't know how many yards he had yesterday, but I think he got a ways to go. Hopefully
only
he has a big one against.
2.9K.
Yeah, exactly. 2.9K to go. So I think Trey got a long way to go, but if he's running hard and running well and he looks like freshman Trey, give him all the carries. If Chip's out there getting 7 yards per carry, give him the carries. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear that he's open to riding the hot hand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said last week, I love the running back rotation. I wouldn't change a thing. I thought Tony Alford put together a master class, and all 3 guys look good. don't really care who starts. If people, if they think Chip is the best guy for him to start and he's going to balance out the carries, I'm cool with it. But the way all three guys ran last week, I think they all deserve the ball again this week. So I'm roll with there. He talked about your guy Cade Stover, and he said Cade benefited from getting good matchups in the secondary. He was on linebackers, which helped his game performance. You agree with that with Cade because he was big in the pass game.
He was big in the pass game. There's a couple times where he missed a few blocks, but I mean, I guess you're not going to see a perfect game out of everyone. Again, I think he's the type of guy that is going to sit down and see this film and, you know what I mean, invest in doing the right things to make sure that he's better in the block game in the next couple weeks. So I think Cade's issues were correctable. And I mean, my biggest complaint in the offseason was his inability to catch the ball. So if he comes out here and, you know what I mean, has 100 yards receiving after I scream all offseason that he's not a receiving threat, I got to give him his flowers. I can't be overly critical on him.
Yeah, 100%. So he played well, and that was what he put time in the offseason investing to being more of a receiver. And I see him create some separation out there. I mean, I would love to see our main guys get targets and get the ball to him. So, but I mean, when Cade got his opportunities, he performed. So can't be mad at him. I'm just like, we got way too much talent out here. Let's give some of those guys up. But he did play well, so we'll give him his credit. G. Scott, he also talked about, said he deserves to be on the field. He had a good start. Said he played 22 snaps on offense, I believe, which is the most by far that he's played. So, what you think of G. Scott? Off to a good start.
Yes, and it's exciting to hear that Ryan Day wants to get him more snaps and was happy with his performance. I think G adds a more dynamic presence in the passing game. But I mean, if it means we're going to see more G because we're running 12 personnel all damn game, I don't know how much I love that. I'd like to see the receivers really get on the field, but overall, I'm excited to see that G has really taken that step. I know in the offseason he talked about his dad suggesting that he should transfer, and G said he's in a position that he's in because of himself. So seeing him take that accountability and really lock in and believe that he does deserve to play here and this is where he needs to be, I'm excited to hear it that one, that he's really starting to assert himself in the lineup, and two, that he feels that he's locked in mentally to really play at his highest level here.
Yeah, no, definitely deserves to be on the field. I love to hear it, and want to see him grow into that role. Thought he took advantage of his time. Now, the other side of that, as you pointed to, somebody asked about Xavier Johnson, and this is sort of a question for the entire receiver room. He says the 12 personnel does eat into the wide receiver reps. He wants to play different guys and get different matchups throughout the season, but it's going to take time. So, what do you think about that? Is that balance there? Playing 12 personnel, he can only play, two receivers, or you're gonna have to take G or Cade off the field and get more guys on the field. So what do you think about that balance there?
Bro, get these fucking tight ends off the field, bro. We're wide receiver you for a reason, man. If they don't stop with this fucking bully ball shit, like we are not that school. Get our wide receivers on the field. I mean, that's really all I have there. Like this, I'm not a fan. During one of the film breakdowns I was watching, they kept saying, you know, damn well Brian Hartline ain't calling the plays because we're taking wide receivers off the field every other fucking play. So, if it, I want to see more. I want to see more G, but not at the sacrifice of seeing wide receivers. Get as many wide receivers on the field as possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we did have 5 or 4 wide receiver set, so that was more than last season. It felt like 'cause we never have any. Um, the 12 personnel is cool, especially if the Titans do it. As long as we run the ball more effectively, I don't mind seeing it maybe like 50%. You know what I'm saying? Like a good half of the time. But I do want to see. I mean, we got all these wide receivers, so I was giving them a chance to go out there and play and make plays. It just have a nice balance. But we're gonna play all this 12 personnel. We better be running the ball better. That's all. That's all I know. I don't want to see guys getting stuffed at the line. Like get it together and let's roll. So that was the offense. Ryan, they talked about. I'll throw a couple quick points before we get to Jim Knowles. But everybody, make sure you like that video. We got 65 people in here. Let's try to get to 50, man. It's like let's get this video likes up. Everybody in here having a good time early morning. We're in that midway of the week. So think about it. College football is only a couple days away now. Just got to get through a couple more days. All right, let's hop into this before we hop into Jim Knowles. So Ryan Day thought we had a great start defensively, and I'm gonna wrap these up and just talk about whichever point you that sticks out to you. He said we had a great start defensively, which we'll talk about more with Jim Knowles. He said he wants a clean performance against Youngstown State, and he feels like guys are going to get more reps and playing time from game 1 to 2 because of the FCS opponent.
I better see CJ Hicks. That's literally my only point. Fucking play CJ Hicks. Like, bro, if CJ Hicks can't get on the field against Youngstown State, bro, we're gonna have to wait until they fucking play Slippery Rock to see him play, because I don't know who the fuck else he's gonna be able to get on the field against. So I would like to see him I'd like to see him get on the field. That's pretty much my only thing. Like that should be the primary goal. Like, I need to get these younger guys on the field and let them play, because he's had a deficiency when it comes to playing young guys early in blowouts. I know last year was, it's the first year in Jim Knowles' scheme. Everybody needs as many reps as possible. Every year it's a fucking excuse of why the young guys don't play. If you can't run the score up, even with a quarterback battle going on against Youngstown State, and get these guys reps, I mean, and again, like when you come to Ohio State and you're one of these highly touted recruits, you're expecting to play in these blowouts, whether it be 3 snaps, 1 possession, whatever. Do you not think that there will be a growing frustration with the young guys on the team if they're not able to start blowing out these teams that they're supposed to and get these games put away so young guys are able to get reps? Like, coming to Ohio State is one thing and not getting playing time because you're sitting behind a ton of talent, but not getting any minutes because you're not putting away teams, I feel like that could be potentially used against us in negative recruiting, because it's like you can't even get in and they're up 45 points. You know what I mean? So I think they
Yeah.
really need to put an emphasis on putting these games away and really making sure the guys that, come here and play their role and sit till their turn have the opportunity to get development minutes as freshmen early on, because we should be able to blow teams out.
No, 100%. You said it all. I want to see the young guys at the field. Urban Meyer did a great job of pushing them out there and getting them to play early. So I think Day needs to do the same, which we haven't done well, especially last season. So we got a couple players he touched on, right, rolling into our defense. So he said Josh Proctor has been consistent, which is why he's starting as of current. Battle is still going on, but he's currently holding that spot. Sonny Styles was versatile all over the field. He said he will sub him if needed. If they need a more DB body, they'll bring in a DB. If they need a bigger body, they may bring in a Cody Simon. But his versatility allows him to stay on the field as much as possible. And Jahad Carter, he expects him to see some action this week. Those 3 points, anything stick out to you?
The fact that there's a true freshman battling with a transfer who's a third-year player and a 6-year starter.
Yeah,
How long is this going to be a battle?
Yeah, they said out topping, but Jim Knowles said it's going to be a little difficult with 3 guys battling. But all right, so that was Ryan Day. He spoke. Jim Knowles also spoke, so I watched that this morning. Got a couple points there. So let's get through these, and then if y'all have any questions, just throw them in there. We'll flag them. We'll catch them at the end of the show. But let's get this out the way. So Jim Knowles, the guy, and Jim Knowles has been my favorite guy to see in a press conference because he's straight to the point. He's funny. It's just like go Ryan Day and Jim Knowles is just like so much better. Okay, so Jim Knowles talked about the guys understanding the system much better in week 2 and performing well. How did guys look on Saturday when you watched them? Did you see them playing fast? You feel like they were more comfortable in the defense than they were last season?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like we saw more PBUs yesterday than we saw, or on Sunday than we saw. Sunday, jeez. On Saturday, what day of the week is it, right? We saw this past weekend that guys were getting their hands on the ball. It felt like our DBs were flying around. It seemed like Sonny Styles was playing at 2 times speed. So yeah, guys seemed a lot more comfortable. I know it's only Indiana, but you only held them. You held them to 3 points. I don't know how much more you could really ask for there. You'd love to see a shutout. And even on second watch, I'm like, we need. We were really close to a shutout. They doinked that field goal. Like
Yeah, they
that
did.
field goal bounced off the uprights through. So I mean, they were literally a field goal again off the upright away from
Scoring at all.
having a shutout. So I don't want to be overly critical. They did what they needed to do. and they definitely seem like they're flying around on there. Denzel Burke specifically, and I almost said CJ Hicks, but that's laughable. Sonny Styles. It was Sonny Styles. It
Sonny
absolutely
Styles.
was not CJ Hicks flying around out there, as many of us know.
Yeah, he only flew to the game. That's all the flying around he did to Indiana and back. Okay, so you brought up DB, so it was almost like you're reading my notes. He talked about Denzel. He translated from practice to the game, got his hands on balls, like you said. He also talked about Igbinosun. He said he was physical. He brought it in the run game, and they want to continue to. They like him being physical. They want to continue to coach his techniques, and the cornerbacks were staying on top of deep shots and contesting everything. I agree with that 200%. I loved Igbinosun how physical he was in the run game. I mean, he just came up and was laying the wood. He did get a holding, so I would love to see them coach a little bit out of that. But I thought what they said this offseason with Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke, Igbinosun, hands on balls, you've seen it there live and in action, and you say you've seen the same.
Yeah, Jordan Hancock looked good too. The
Bro.
few times that I did see him, yeah, next year. That's my thing, bro, and that's been my argument since day one. I do think he's a pro, not this year. And if he is, I'll be super excited. You know what I mean? If we have a draftable corner in our third corner on the team, then I think that's a great thing, and I would love to eat crow on that topic. So I hope I'm wrong.
Oh man. Staying with the DBs, talk about Josh Proctor. He said he played well, but all right, I gotta get this yard out. Good lord. There we go.
Damn, so
All right.
this one boring ass show, nigga. You're on here going and
So I've been waiting the
talking.
yard for like 5 minutes. I couldn't get it out. He said Josh Proctor played well. Malik Harford played well too. It's a close competition between those two, but it's also hard with Josh Carter to play three guys. So Josh is holding down the starting spot a little bit. Malik's coming up. What do you think about Malik Harford? Jimmy, I know you talked about him, but Jim knows also believe he played well. Give me your size. You've seen him on the All 22. What do you look like?
He looks like he looks as advertised. You know what I mean? They said high football IQ. He played that allows him to play fast. I mean, we see him make that. I mean, the one play that you've seen all over Twitter is him crashing down to make that stop in the flat on third and short, and just you know what I mean. Before the ball's even out, he's already in pursuit to make that play. So I just want to see more, and I'm excited. I think he'll get to play more in the Youngstown State game. You know what I mean? If Josh Proctor's out there doing his job, let him play. You know what I mean? Until he proves otherwise. I don't think Josh Proctor played bad enough that he deserves to come off the field. So I don't think he played bad at all. I think Josh Proctor played a great game. So I think he's going to continue to play. He has the experience. It's a guy that we've heard about for years that they believed in. So I mean, if he's able to continue to go out there and perform, if Malik Hartford has to wait 1 year, so be it. But I think he'll definitely find a way to get on the field and have the opportunity to play himself in that role. And same with Jahad Carter. And I like the way that they're handling this situation. I think they're getting all the guys minutes. They're not yanking Proctor too early and allowing him to really win the job if he's out there performing, but also making sure that he knows the other guys are on his ass too and getting them play. So I like the way they're handling this.
Yeah, and you touched on it. The way they are handling so far, Josh Proctor and Malik Hartford is what I want to see with all positions, across the board, maybe outside of the O line. You have a guy that's been there, he's a veteran, he's playing well. Let him play. You have a young guy in who's just coming in. Let him get his feet wet against competition. Let him get some reps, which they did. I mean, you would love to see guys, sit for a year, play a bit, get comfortable, and then their second, third year just come out and explode and really be ready to take on that mantle. So I love the way they're handling it. He also talked about Jahad Carter. He said Carter can also play the Lathan Ransom role. We know Ransom played a hefty amount of minutes on Saturday, so he said he can also fill in there to give him time and get him reps. So I'd love to see that too. And then he's also talked about Sonny Styles. And this was another point. He said Sonny Styles is a guy you don't want to put too much on his plate, but he said he loves where he's at. He loves how he played on Saturday and wants to continue moving that ball forward without making it too complicated. He just wants him to play fast, man. Play fast, limited, run around the field. Sonny Styles was a monster on Saturday.
Absolutely. And I mean, it makes you wonder, man, Do we have any more 5 stars from Ohio that could fly around? If only. If only.
Well, he had some other guys who had a ridiculous.
Man, if they made more people with similar body types, level of aggression, and athleticism, man, I'd love to have another one on that defense. You know where we could find one cute.
Well, Jim Knowles talked about it. He said again, touching on what Ryan Day talked about, the limited number of snaps. So he's the limited number of plays, which are why guys didn't play more. He likes to get his linebackers to have a feel of the game, but he didn't get to play many guys overall, which he hopes to do more on Saturday.
I hope so too. Like I fucking feel like Kodak Black over here. I hope so. Like I again, it goes back to my hate for this new clock rule. Like, cool. I get more commercials and less CJ Hicks. Like that's what the coaching staff needs to come out here and say, man, there's just so many commercials. I can't get CJ Hicks in the game. Like just pass the buck. Like I get it that there's less snaps. Well, you got to figure it out, bro. Like I don't care if there's 40 snaps, bro. CJ Hicks should play at least 8.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I don't care
something.
how low the snap count is. There's absolutely no way 14 games in his career, the number one linebacker in the country should be getting 1 snap. I don't give a fuck if they're playing 40 snaps and there's only 4 fucking possessions the entire game, bro. Get them on the field.
Yeah, you see how well he did in coverage in the spring game. 3rd down, 11. You know they're gonna throw. Hey, CJ,
Bro.
you're zoned up over there.
And these motherfuckers on Twitter that are like, oh, you don't want him to make a mistake. Bro, we're playing fucking Indiana, bro, and there's 10 other defenders on the field. You're telling me that you think CJ Hicks is going to go out there and do something so goddamn costly that we're going to lose to Indiana that he could only play 1 snap, bro? It's bullshit, bro. If people talk about we're pushing the narrative, oh, you guys just have a hard on for CJ Hicks. You guys just want CJ Hicks to play. Like, no, because in your insistence in him not playing, you start fucking talking crazier than me.
Everybody makes mistakes, man. Tommy makes mistakes. Steele makes mistakes. JT
no,
makes mistakes.
No. Actually, bro, the only person that made a mistake was me.
CJ Hicks.
The only person that made a mistake was me, naming Tommy Heismanberg, because who knew we had another Heisman caliber linebacker on the team in Steele Chambers? My fucking fault. This whole time I'm at home, I'm in Photoshop, I'm editing up Tommy Eichenberg graphics. We had another Heisman caliber linebacker. If you check Twitter, it's Steele Chambers. So, you know what I mean? I already had my room booked for New York for the Heisman ceremony because I knew that Ohio State linebacker was going to win it. I just didn't know it was going to be Steele Chambers. So I'm excited that Twitter let me know that. I'm glad I already have my room booked, and, I'm excited to see an Ohio State Buckeye hoist the Heisman again. So the Steele Chambers Heisman campaign begins today here on Buckeye Rose.
Oh man. Yeah, didn't they play terrible, but still love to see some rotation, man. It's just hopefully Saturday. Saturday, I'm feel better. Everybody's gonna play, everybody's gonna look great. We're gonna put up 70. I'm pumping sunshine to get us to Saturday. So Jim Knowles, I have actually an interesting point here before I get to the D-line rotation. Jim Knowles was asked about who graded out as champions on defense. And the public information director said that information is no longer public. Ron, we don't get the champions list anymore. Even Jim Knowles said, I thought that was public. And he said no.
That's what I'm saying, bro. The only thing that's public anymore is the participant, and that's why anything with any meaning or real, like, that insight that you could glean from any type of information, bro, is kept under lock and key at Ohio State. And that's why I call all of Jim Knowles' awards that he gives out participation trophies. Like, because anything of meaning, depth chart, champion grades, none of that shit actually comes out, bro. We have these participation ass trophies where, you know what I mean, you get to take a picture in front of the fucking projector and we pat you on the back. But like, as far as knowing what the coaching staff actually thinks about their performance, they can't give that. And they're limiting the amount of metrics that they're giving out so they can continue to lie to us. Lion Day can't tell you that someone grades as a champion because when he changes his mind, then there's data points to call him on. So the limiting of information allows you to have less ammo to call him out when he changes his mind. So, you know what I mean? Why would they tell us a champion? Because if someone deserves to play over them, they don't want a champion grade out there because you might be able to make a logical argument that, hey, this person played better than that guy, but they deserve to play.
I thought that was funny, so I wanted to give you that. I'm like, good lord, talk about Fort Knox. Even they give out more information than this. The one guy I know great as a champion was Josh Fryer because they mentioned it. Outside of that, I don't have a clue. I couldn't tell you. Jim Knowles also talked about the D line. He said they make plays, and he loved the D line rotation. Ron, saw D line on Saturdays a few times now. Did you like the rotation? You like what you saw?
I did. I saw Mike Hall be Mike Hall. He was disruptive. He looked twitched up out there. I think the depth really showed itself on the interior with Hero Canoe, Jaden McKenzie, Tyleek Williams had a solid game. You'd like to see more pressure off the edge, but clearly they were doing something right because uh, JTT won one of Jim Knowles' awards as the Silver Bullet. They alleged that he had 3 QB hurries. I don't
Something like
know. I'm
that.
on my third watch of the game. I missed them, so maybe on this fourth watch I will catch them. So I mean, if they tell me he played great, who am I? Like again, and that's one thing that I'm willing to admit. Like I don't see everything when I watch the game. I actually miss a lot. I don't. You know what I mean? I'm a Hall of Fame Twitter coach. I'm not a Hall of Fame actual coach. Like there's shit that I don't see. There's shit that I don't know. There's shit that I don't recognize. But I like to me, the first thing that I said was the defense only gave up 3 points. I didn't think that JT was overly disruptive, but is he doing his job if we're only giving up 3 points and the defense is getting off the field? Like I feel like that's where like I feel like I start to turn into a spoiled fan as far as I need to see sacks too. Like, bro, I don't give a fuck if there's not a turnover, if there's not a sack. If you're only giving up 3 points, I don't care what it looks like. And that's kind of where I fall with JTT. Was it discernible to my eye? Maybe I just don't know ball like I feel like I know ball. So they told me JTT had a great game. We only gave up 3 points. I'll roll with it, but I would hope when we play a team that's not running the triple option and we need a pass rush that we're able to see those guys get home a little bit more off the edge.
Yeah, and I actually liked what I saw from JT. I know you said you didn't see a lot. I mean, I love his pursuit for the ball. I thought he played well. I thought he set the edge well. So that's where I saw it. I was like, okay, on second watch, like I get it. I think he did well. But he talked about indications moving forward of the defense. Obviously, they played Indiana. They played against the triple option. You can't measure the defense by that. But he said indications are they moving the right path. It's a long season. They haven't proven anything yet. He wants the defense to provide confidence to the team so people can count on them and they will make adjustments as things are thrown at them. Overall, on the defense, how you feeling about it? He says they're on the right path, but no, nothing proven.
No, I mean, I think the defense is on a great path. They just have to be consistent and keep it up. I'd like to see a little bit more rotation, but overall, I mean, and that's something that Jim Knowles said in the offseason. He said Cody Simon and CJ Hicks need to play more. So I'm just going off the coach's word. Yeah, so I definitely think he needs to play more.
All right, facts. And that wraps up our show notes. I had started a couple things. Ron, if you see any more, throw them up there. We touched on that one. So let's see here. All right. Sue says, don't you all think that 12 was used so often because our O line needed help? Actually, let me bring it up here. All right. Sorry, I hit the button. There we go. My Go ahead, Rob.
Sue.
You got it. Sue said, "Don't you think that 12 was used so often because our O line needed help and they knew that?" Yeah, I agree with you 200%. I said it when we watched the game. I thought we played so much 12 personnel because the offensive tackles probably needed help, aka Josh Simons, because Fryer did play well. So yeah, I agree with you 200% on that, Ron.
No, I agree. I think the 12 personnel was because of the offensive line concerns. You would hope with YSU that they'd be able to open it up a little more. Watching the game, I was honestly shocked how much they used it, but I'm hoping that we see more wide receivers on the field this week.
Same here. Mitch going up here. He said, "Who's deciding the rotation at linebackers? Because it ain't happening. Hope I can Ferguson steal. Don't get hurt because I don't think the next guy has even had 30 reps at the position." I agree with you there. It's not much of a rotation really at all, which I am very surprised. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure it's Jim Knowles at this point. He's rolling with his two guys. I doubt it's Laurinaitis so early on. But yeah, I'm with you. Hopefully guys do not get hurt because there's so much inexperience that it's not even like it should be learned by fire at that point. So I'm hoping to get reps. I'm gonna get more comfortable. Cody Simon at least has been around for a while, but good lord any any linebacker injuries, we really might be in trouble because no game reps, and it's just a completely different thing.
Yeah, I'm still just going off of Jim Knowles' word. He said last year, as preparation for the end of the season, those guys can't be playing as much as they're playing. And then we see them out there play almost every snap. So I hope that rotation is able to um, switch up this throughout the season and they're able to get more guys on the field because I agree 1,000% that we're putting them at injury risk by not getting them off the field earlier.
Yep. And then last one of the day. Sue says, here's a point. To play Tommy is still together. They know each other. They are going to do they know what they're going the other God, good lord. They know what each other are going to do every snap because they've been playing together for a while. They can act as a unit. Sue, I agree 100%. They know each other and know the jobs are going to do well, but also too, you need to rotate. You need to have adjustment. Basically, if the other guy is going to do his job and you have confidence in him, you will be fine. So while yes, chemistry helps, Noah CJ Hicks is going to go in there and do his job to give the other guy confidence to go play. And even if Tommy gets hurt, that doesn't mean still can go out there and play like shit. Somebody else should be able to step in and do his job well, and he still play at that same level.
And I feel like this idea of not allowing these freshmen to make mistakes is just kicking the can down the road because I don't feel like, oh, if we never let them play and they never make a mistake, they're going to get in the game and not make mistakes. They're going to make the mistakes eventually. So, this idea that these guys can't play because they might make a mistake, if they never get plays, they're going to have to make them eventually. They're not getting them out of their system. They're not getting game reps. They're not getting an opportunity to make these mistakes. So, like, Tommy and Steele can play together all year and play mistake-free football. But what about next year when CJ Hicks is 70 less reps short and 10 mistakes still in his system that he wasn't able to get out last year because he's not getting these reps? At some point I feel like these guys have to be allowed to fail because I mean look at the two guys and the irony in these guys aren't allowed to fail is hilarious because the reason why Tommy Eichenberg and Steele Chambers have developed into the players that they are today is because they were a bucket of hot fucking garbage in 2021. I don't know if you guys remember that defense, but those two were awful. Tommy had a game with 60 snaps where he didn't have a single fucking tackle. So it's crazy that these two linebackers were able to benefit by being average linebackers for 2 years and eating up all of the reps and being able to develop into the players that they are today by getting reps on the field. But now we're expecting 5-stars to not play until their third year. When this is what Tommy's third year playing on the field.
Yeah, and he had 2 years before that.
That's what I'm saying. So are we on a 5-year trajectory with CJ Hicks? It's just crazy that all these guys that they're so elite and you can't take them off the field and they played at an all-American level. Well, why were they able to play at an all-American level? Because they've had 3 years to develop and have gotten game reps and been allowed to fail and been allowed to look awful and been allowed to have teams run all over them for the entire 2021 season and be able to just make mistakes and pat them on the back and give them a hug after every game and tell them that they're great and they have nothing to worry about, that no one's coming in to take their job. But now we can't even get guys in mop-up minutes because the snaps were short and he might make a mistake. Like, what do you call 60 snaps without a tackle?
Yeah, no, 100%. And actually,
at Mike linebacker.
100%, man. Like I'll tell you, if a player is draft eligible and they come back the next season, outside the 1% of guys who just love college that much, usually you're not a perfect player. You still make mistakes. You still have room to grow. You still have a ways to go. So the Tommy still aren't. They play well. They aren't perfect players either, and certainly it leaves the room for other guys to come on and play stats. Like you said, they had time to develop. I couldn't say it any better, so I won't. But yeah. that's the end of that. Appreciate the questions for everybody. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, don't forget, Four Ways will be on Bleach Report at 1 o'clock. Four Ways to Fix Ohio State. Me and Ron will be up there getting that out of the way. So make sure you download that app, get up there, like the video, do all that stuff, hang out with us some more. And then Fans Edge tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Mike, Cam, the gang, all in there. Can't wait for that. And that's all I got.
Yeah, let the people know where they can find you outside of Bleacher Report today at 1 p.m.
Well, definitely there. But also, too, you can find me at City Boy Quitting on Twitter, find Johnson on Instagram, Minor League Films, YouTube, TikTok. Ron.
You can find me on Twitter at 2_TES. That's 2 T's. You can find me on Twitch at the same thing. You can find me on TikTok at 2Shiesty. We will be live in the Bleacher Report app at 1 p.m. today in the Ohio State team stream. Make sure you tune in. We will be talking about 4 ways to fix Ohio State after week 1. So make sure you tune in. Make sure that you're here on the channel tonight at 7:30 Eastern for the Fans Edge with Mike and Cam. And we will be here tomorrow for the Buckeye Roast every morning at 8 a.m. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will talk to you in 4 hours.